Okay,
Yep.
that is how good that University of Miami football team did. And not only that, Coach Rumph, then you go from your days as a collegiate athlete, all right, and then you transition into the NFL, and you were picked 27th in the first round by the San Francisco 49ers. You were one of 5 Canes that year that was picked in the first round. What was that feeling like, and how excited were you to become a 49er?
Amazing feeling. I had everybody at like a Legion Hall back in Boynton Beach, about 200 people. So it's great to have all my friends and family around, people that have been around me since I was a kid. My grandmothers were there. My girlfriend at the time, who's my wife right now, she was there. My son was there. He was about a few months old. So it was an amazing feeling to hear my name called. And the Niners came to here to UM, and they worked me out. Brett Maxman, he worked me out, and he goes, "If you're there at the 27th pick, we're gonna get you." And I'm thinking like, yeah, whatever. That's what everybody. I thought it was gonna be like early second, and
Okay.
sure enough, they kept to their words. And I later learned once I went over there that this is a first class organization. Being under at the time Mr. York, before they were under DeBartolo as the owner, but great
Mhm.
ownership from the top down. Bought a bunch of tough, really good players. And what the thing about the Niners that's special is they all come back and support their team. There's nothing to see. Jerry Rice, or at the time Rice was a Raider, but Rice was still around. Tina Turner, a lot of former Ronnie Lott, like called me every day. So imagine that your childhood
That's
star that you
amazing.
like Ronnie Lott called me after every game and talk ball with me and critique my game. And he mentored me every summer with his businesses. He had owned some Toyota dealerships. So every summer I was hanging out with Ronnie Lott, and those guys really took me under the wing. So I can't say enough about that organization. But it was a great feeling. So I get the call and I'm like, it's so much noise. And I'm hearing like, yeah, we're going to fly you in tomorrow. You got to fly, blah, blah, blah. So I didn't hear nothing about bring a suit. So I fly first class to San Francisco as a first round pick. I got on a white tee, and Jabot was the style back then. Jabot jean had some Jabot jeans, Jabot jean jacket with a white tee.
Okay.
I get up, so I go there and they're like, "Where's your suit?" And I'm like, "I didn't hear anything about a suit." So if you look at my draft picture, I'm wearing my coach's suit in that draft picture. It's a little big right here, but Brett actually let me hold his suit. And so on my card and all my pictures is I'm wearing my coach's suit on there. So that's my funny story. I didn't hear nobody say anything about wearing a suit. So that's how I arrived as a first rounder with some Jabot jeans on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it worked out for you because you had a pretty good career with the 49ers. I mean, altogether. You got hurt, was it 2006? And I think they moved you to safety. Am I correct on that one, or?
Yeah, so I had two injuries. In '04, I broke my radius. So I
Okay.
broke my arm right here, tackling
I see.
Steve
Okay.
Steven Jackson with the Rams, Sunday night game. And I don't talk a lot of trash, but if the other team's talking trash, I'm gonna talk. So Isaac Bruce and I used to bump, and we're friends to this day. We're friends now, but we used to, he's from Broward, I'm from Palm Beach, so a lot of foul words going back and forth. And I would slam him down, and then he would cut block me, and so he cut blocked me, and I was on the ground, and Steven Jackson 240s come around the corner, and I threw my arm to trip him up, and I hit right on his shin. And at the time, like, man, it's a stinger. You get that when you get hit
Hmm.
someone real hard, you get a fire sensation. And I'm like, dang, I got a stinger. But I'm like, this something ain't right. So, and I always told myself, I'm never going to lay on the field. So I get up, I'll run out the field, and I'm like, I don't even want to look at my arm. So I'll run out the field like this. And Isaac Bruce behind me talking shit. He ran the whole 53 yards behind me. Where you going? You this, and why you running from me? And I'm like, bro, like my arm is literally broke, and you're still talking, whatever. Go in there, get an X-ray, and as I'm waiting on my X-ray to cut my jersey off, I look at the replay. They're showing it on the film, on the TV, and I see my arm. And I'm like, bro, like I don't need an X-ray. Like my arm is broken. So I had a surgery that year, and then I tore a ligament in my foot later in '05. I had plantar fasciitis,
Okay.
and this is to all my athletes and a lot of regular people that work on their feet get plantar fasciitis. It's when your heel is very sore in the morning, and over the day it warms up and it doesn't bother you anymore. But every morning it's very stiff and it doesn't want to move. And I just ignored it, and I went to plant one day in practice, and I tore that ligament, so I missed a year because of plantar fasciitis. I got flat feet, so anybody with flat feet, Make sure you get orthotics, or you got too much of an arch, you might need orthotics, and you always got to take care of your feet because your feet connect to your knees connect to your back. So take care of your feet. So I missed a year with my broke arm, and I missed a year with my foot. And then I got, when Mike Nolan came in, now keep in mind, I had 3 head coaches with the Niners. And I think that was something that nobody really noticed throughout my career. I had like 4 D coordinators and 3 head coaches in 4 years. So every year was something different. And every coach likes their different types of personnel. So originally I was Steve Mariucci, and then I had Dennis Erickson, and then I had Mike Nolan. And Mike Nolan came in from Baltimore and had a more of a different style of, and they moved me to safety. And then I was traded to the Washington Redskins, which are our Washington Commanders right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you had a pretty solid career. I mean, you had 138 total tackles. You had 130 total tackles for gaming. 122 were solo. So, you know, you do like to get into it. 17 pass deflections, and you had 3 interceptions. So when did you know, before we move on to your what you're doing currently, when did you know it was time to retire? Like, when did you feel like, you know what, it's time for me to hang it up and start my new era in life?
Oh man, so it's funny because my career was so weird, man. It's just, and you could say, you call it what you want, but I was so close to being really good, man. I can say that to you, and I've never really told anybody except my dad. But my first pick was I picked off pick that was thrown to Torrey Holt, and I ran it back, and I got knocked out of bounds like on the 3-yard line, and it was a roughing the passer, so they called it back. But my career has been like that. Like, I've been so close to, like, some picks I had that got called back, or, you know, PI, or roughing the passer, or I scooped and scored a fumble and it was down already and my knee was down. This weird stuff, man. So I always say my career could have went, you know, to a whole nother level, but for some reason I was this close to not. So I was proud of what I did. I feel like I had a great career. A lot of people don't play as long as I did, but I took pride in physicality. And that's, as you can see, all the tackles and running to the ball. But I knew it was time to retire because I had been in 3 different cities. I ended up going to the Rams after I was with the Commanders. And it was just a preseason thing. It didn't work out. St. Louis took it all out of me. Imagine going from Miami, great city, going to San Francisco, which is pretty cool, and then going to Washington, which is great. And then, no offense, but St. Louis, Missouri, bro, it was like I went to Golden Corral. That was the highlight of my day, sitting in Golden Corral in St. Charles, Missouri, listening to old people talk about farms and tomatoes. But what am I doing? What's going on in my life? And that was the first time I didn't have my son and my daughter with me. My son, my daughter, and my wife with me on a team. They came with me to San Fran. My daughter was born in Washington. When I went to the St. Louis Rams, I was all alone, and that took a toll on me. But here's what my was. I made a good amount of money. I've had a really good career. I don't want to be all banged up where I can't play with my kids. I want to be physically okay. And I was tired of moving my kids from school to school. And I said, I'm going to retire. I'm smart. I could do some stuff. And that's what I did. I retired. I had my Mike Rumph camp for years, which I gave back to my community up in Boynton Beach. And I opened a puppy store for my wife and I, which we love dogs. And I had a little puppy store called the Sheep Puppies that was in Bell Harbor, Florida, down here on the water. And I just sailed away, bro, and I retired. And that was it.
Yeah, I mean, you did have a good career. I mean, the average NFL career is about 4 years, you know, and you played beyond that, and you did go to some good cities. I mean, San Francisco is a historic franchise. So are the Commanders, formerly the Washington Redskins. You know, but this is